around the corner, got them shades on my eyes. It's a pretty little thing by my side that's flawless. Why you niggas still chasing roaches? Collecting all this money on the roads like I'm homeless. A nigga like me.
Yeah, man, welcome back, everyone. This is Newcastle Media House. We're going to kick off episode 2 of the PREM podcast. I have a guest, but we're going to lead up to that short and introduce my guest. But yeah, crazy thing happened over the weekend, man, in the Premier League. But, I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. We know today is Monday. It's kind of a lackluster day in the week. That's the day when most people go to work lazy. That's a Monday feeling, man. Yeah, but crazy thing happened over the weekend, man, in the Premier League. Virgil van Dijk red card. Man City came back. Pep Guardiola sidelined it from a back surgery. Speedy recovery. Pep Guardiola. United, man, came back from 2-0 down. Nottingham Forest scored 2 in the opening 5th minute of the game. Chelsea looking good again. Big Andrew's doing good. Up there in London. Arsenal, man. Arsenal is in limbo. Mikel Arteta, man, is doing a lot of surgery, with the team. I wonder if his new name is going to be, Robert Einstein. The scientist that likes to research and, just by patching up things, but it's not looking good, up there in the red side of North London. And, it's looking much better for them boys, up there, white side of North London. Tottenham, but Big Angie's on the surge, bringing up back this team from in the dark, in the light. New boys, Luton Town, man, went down again at Stamford Bridge. Raheem Sterling looking really good again, looking really sharp as a player. We're going to touch on a little bit of the Mike Dean issue. But stick around, man. Going to put the guests on the screen shortly. T-Boys TV is in the building, Tyler. Big up Luton Town supporter. Yeah, man. So, Tyler, welcome back, man, to the Newcastle Media House. This is the PREM podcast. We're going to talk about everything that's happened over the weekend, man, in the Premier League. We saw that Mike Dean issue. Question: does the train strike happen in England over the weekend?
The what? Sorry.
The train strike.
I think there has been some.
It's island-wide, like in the whole country.
Yeah. There's been a lot of them for ongoing months.
How people get to football match?
Well, I know some people and a lot of teams have a supporters coach, so I know a lot of people would go with that instead because it's it can be cheaper.
Does like the clubs rent couches so the fans can go to games?
Yes, certain clubs do. Yes,
but lucky Luton Town played on Friday night, so you guys did play before that strike on the weekend.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, man, loads of things, man. A lot of teams, I don't know if you realize, but a lot of teams came back, from 1-0 down, 2-0 down. United came from a 2-0 down. City rallied back to win 2-1. Liverpool came back, from 1-0 down to beat Newcastle in St. James Park with 10 men. A lot of stuff. Fulham came back after leading Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. To draw that game 2-2 with 10 men on the pitch. Red card, stupid tackle from Bassy. But yeah, how was your weekend, mate?
Yeah, it was good. Obviously beating the Friday night game, when you lose, it's not so great as a fan because then you're looking at all the other games, and you're like, we lost, so it doesn't feel great, seeing other teams, get results and your team didn't quite get one. But it's one of them, where there's always, another team that's going to be having that situation that you are where, you're all down in the dumps, but then they're going to be like that too. So you're not the only team feeling like that. But watching the football, man, there was some really good games. Like you say, a lot of comebacks. And yeah, I'm predominantly, especially now with Luton in the Premier League. I watched the Premier League a lot anyway, before. But now that we're in it, I pretty much watch any game because we are going to be playing these teams. And it's good to see how they play and, the quality that we're going to be coming up against.
Yeah. We're going to kick off the podcast, man, with Luton Town, Chelsea. Obviously you guys played at Stamford Bridge Friday night. You know, bro, the story around Luton Town is crazy, man. You know, financial crisis, you know, drop down to the non-league, you know, onto the Prem. You still haven't have a stadium to upgrade to the Premier League level. You know, you're coming up against teams like Chelsea that spend like £1 billion in like 3 or 4 transfer season now. So it's crazy, man. It's like David versus Goliath.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know,
No.
a lot of when I
Go
was
on.
when I
Go on.
when I was going into the game, I actually went on BBC Scotland, which was pretty crazy. And they were saying the same thing. Building up to it, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy to be in this position. Like I said, and I think I've said it on this channel before. I expected us to be in the Premier League at some point, just not as early as it's been. I thought it'd maybe be a few more years.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. We go into these grounds. Even though we've played Chelsea a lot in recent years, it still felt, really not weird, but it felt, good to be playing them again. But this time in the league. Previous times have been in the FA Cup. So, yeah.
Yeah. Bro, I think Luton Town is in big trouble. Like, you cannot play any home games, as a new team in the Premier League, playing in a championship and the Prem, it's different pace. You understand, bro? It's different.
Yeah.
The pace is high, much higher level of team, more technical coaches, everything is more technical how you break down teams, and to Luton Town not playing at home, it's a big, big, big risk, going forward. I think you guys can play your first 10 games and still haven't win a game or getting a point on the board, man. It's a risk.
It is nervy times, obviously finally we do have that home game, coming up this week on Friday. But that's going to be a very difficult game. Obviously West Ham, as we saw at the weekend, got that very emphatic win, and that was away at Brighton as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a difficult game, but it's like Gary Neville said. I'm not sure if he saw it, but we're going to see what Luton are about on that game, because obviously we're at home. We're going to be able to see what we can do, because I've said it, if we are to stay up, it will be like how it was for Nottingham Forest last year, in the sense where it comes down to home form. But it's going to be a big ask. It's going to be a big ask because, West Ham doing very well. Obviously, not too long ago as well, they've announced Kudos from Ajax, which is a very good signing. So, it doesn't get any easier. It really doesn't. So, yeah.
Reggaeboyz on farm, man. Mikel Antonio.
Yep. No, he's doing very well. He's always a player I've, rated very highly, especially with, obviously the transition in positions that he's, done at West Ham. Because obviously he started off as a fullback, didn't he? And then obviously he's played striker, and he's been good for them. So he's going to be a player we're going to have to watch out for sure. There's many.
I think he's one of the best player in the Premier League fighting for scraps as a striker. There's no one in the league can do it like him, man. Obviously, I mean, Haaland can score a goal with one or two touches in the game, but, fighting for scraps and making things looking good from nothing to something, that's Mikel Antonio.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Bro, one advice for Rob Edwards.
What's that, sorry?
What's that one advice would you give to Rob Edwards, Luton Town coach?
I know it's going to sound harsh, but this is where we're at now. We need to drop Amari Bell and we need to get a defender. It's as simple as that. We've been linked with Twanzebe, Tanganga. Apparently Twanzebe was training with us. Obviously his contract to Man United's done. I think they terminated it or something like that. And, it's one where we need to get an experienced player in every single position. We've got it in goal with Tim Krul. We've got it now in midfield with Ross Barkley, and obviously we've loaned out McAtee as well, which I'm a little bit surprised about. I thought maybe you'd give him a chance in the Prem, even if it was, on the bench. So I feel he is, up to that level. And also his brother's obviously playing for Man City. So, they've got that family-friendly competition in that sense. They want to be better than the other in that sense. So
Yeah.
I'm surprised. But based on that, I feel we need to get a striker, and preferably one with experience, because none of them are experienced in the Premier League. I'm not saying I don't think they can't do it in the Prem, because I think some of them can, some of them can't. And then when it comes to defender, obviously I love Amari Bell. He's been, I said it last season, he was our most consistent player, but obviously we're playing him in the left centre-back role, and, that's not his natural position. So for me, we need to be going out and getting someone, like I say, preferably with that experience. So, yeah.
I think you do a better job playing at left wing back, man. You need to get, defender is who can defend. You remember back in the days when Stoke City have, Robert Hood, Shawcross, guys that can stuck in a tackle, don't scared to defend. I think you need to go after defenders like that, because Luton Town are going to be on the back foot most of the games, playing low blocks and trying to hit teams on the counter, But Raheem Sterling looked like a new signing, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's looking very good. I said it, when they lost 3-1 to West Ham, he was probably the only shining light in that game, and obviously in this game, just see what he's doing against, let's be real, better players, West Ham players, it's always going to be difficult to deal with him. He's finally looking like he's, shining now at Chelsea, because obviously it was difficult for him and obviously many others last season, but it looks like he's, the real deal. For me, he's always been a good player anyway. I even look at times he's played for England, in the Euros and etc. He's been a massive part to
really
England.
Good. Yeah.
I remember the Euros, the last load of Euros. If he didn't get them goals at the start of the tournament, we wouldn't have been in the position we were in, in the later stages. So he deserves, massive respect, and he is doing very well now. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's this Chelsea team. I think the average age is around 24, 25, man. A lot of players young. This is not the typical Chelsea team, we used to in the past, experienced striker that can give you 20 plus goals for the season. You see Didier Drogba, Diego Costa, and Chelsea used to have a lot of players that, playing for different national teams, and they are captain, like leaders, Carvalho, former Portugal captain. Peter Cech, former Czech Republic captain, John Terry, Ashley Cole, Essien, Ghanaian captain, Michael Ballack, former German captain, Didier's Ivory Coast captain. Chelsea's have loads of players like that. Now it's a different time, in this era as a Chelsea fans, but you think Poch can get the best out of these young players, especially Modric?
Yeah. I definitely think he can. Obviously he had a very good track record of that at Tottenham, which is why they got as far as they did in, the Champions League, etc. And, I do think he's a decent manager. I wouldn't quite put him in world class yet because, he hasn't really won an awful lot, but he can definitely put them up to a level where they're fighting for top four. I definitely believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think he can get the best out of the players. You saw he got out of Lucas Moura, Son when in his time at Spurs, even a little bit. He was one that brought through Tanganga to the team.
I believe he was, yeah. I believe he
was. He bought the Colombian defender, Sanchez. He was good at that time. So loads of players, man. And I think he bought Sessegnon. It didn't really happen, but you can see that he likes to coach younger players. It didn't work out for him at PSG. Too many egos, Neymar, Mbappe. It too much, man. But as I said, I hope Luton Town can get their act in order and trying to get points on the board, because, bro, by the time you look, it's December, and you don't want to be on 10 points when it comes on to the new year. You're going to be in massive trouble. But, moving on, man, at Spurs, they beat Bournemouth 2-0. Big Ange, he's doing great up here in North London, man.
Yeah, no, he is. I managed to catch his game. Obviously, we have got Tottenham on TV, 7th of October at home on TV. So I wanted to see how this one goes because it's away from home, like it will be then.
Yeah.
And, against a team that for me are going to be in the battle again in Bournemouth. And Tottenham look very good, in spells in this game. For me, you don't always have to play the most attractive football to some people you do because it just looks good and that. But,
Yeah.
the way he's come in and some of the football they were playing was phenomenal. I've said it before, when Harry Kane leaves, I think it's best for both parties. So I think it's best for him because, especially if he's going to Bayern, he'll most likely win the league there. Let's be honest. And then obviously for Tottenham, I just feel, because they were so reliant on him at times, I feel it just benefits them in the sense where they're not going to be like that now. They can build off of it and get decent money for him like they obviously did because of the quality of the player. So, but some of the spells they were playing in this game, the second goal, I thought that was phenomenal. The way the ball was played across, and it was a great finish. Maddison, he's been a good signing so far. Obviously a good goal from him. It was one of them. What's that? Sorry,
Udoji.
Yeah, like I remember watching the game. I was just watching it, and I was watching it in my set, and I was like, as soon as that ball's got played through to him, I said goal, even before it went in, because sometimes you can just tell. And the football they were playing, Bournemouth was struggling, to be honest. And Bournemouth's an interesting one with how I think they will do, because I don't really know about this manager, but I think it might be a season where, they'll be down there, like I said. So, yeah, but overall, Tottenham looking good so far. And we'll see what happens. I mean, for them, obviously, go on.
The captain, Young Min's son, is not looking himself since he's been appointed as a captain. I don't know what's going on, man. Is it lack of confidence from last season carrying over in this season?
I think it is, because I'm the same as you. I thought he would build on, this season, especially with Kane going as well.
Yeah.
I thought, him now becoming that captain, he would, spur on sort of thing. But I don't really know what's going on.
I don't know. And Richarlison is awful, man. He's looking short of confidence. Can't even get a goal, man. Jumping all over the pitch.
Yeah, he's not looking great.
I think they're gonna go for another striker, because Richarlison is a gamble going forward, man.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. They need, obviously, it's going to be hard to replace Kane, but they definitely need a striker, because Richarlison he's not that guy for me. He's much better out wide. I don't think as a number 9 as he is. Been playing. I just don't think he's good enough to be there for the whole season.
Yeah. This player for Bournemouth, he's an ex-Bristol player. Semenyo, I think his name is Semenyo. He's looking really good. You saw him at Anfield last week, and you saw him, against Spurs on Saturday, man. He almost scored again after that goal at Anfield. But I think Bournemouth have abused a few bright sparks in the team. I hope they can keep Solanke fit. He's the one that's going to bag the goals for them. But that coach though, that is a Spaniard. He used to coach in the La Liga. Rayo Vallecano. Rayo Vallecano is a team that have a shoestring budget. All they do go around and sign free agents and loan players. They don't really have much money to go in the transfer market. So I think one point he finished in that top half of the La Liga. I think around 11. So that's how he built his name. But moving on, man. Big game at Old Trafford, man. United versus Nottingham Forest. My team, hopeful first. I said 15 minutes of the game, man. We should have done like 3-0.
Yeah, when I saw it, I didn't quite manage to watch the whole game of this. But when I saw you 2-0 down already, I was very shocked. Going into it, even though you've not been, convincing at all. The Wolves win should have probably been a draw. The Tottenham game, the second half was terrible. I thought going into this one, because how poor Nottingham Forest were last season, I think they'll be very similar away this season. I thought, it was a good game, especially you guys being at home. I thought it was a good game to bounce back in, But when I saw that, I was like, wow. And the thing is, I didn't even see it first time. Someone said 2-0 Forest, and I was like, nah, surely you're taking the mick. And then I saw it, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, that Nigerian striker, man, Aniomi is really looking good. Like, he's the real deal. But I think that player was coming from the Bundesliga and Union Berlin. You know, he was, I think Union Berlin, yeah. You know, he was playing really good in the Bundesliga. You know, came over last season in England, and he sat on the bench most of the time. Obviously, he was struggling with injuries and stuff like that. But I always said, you know, whenever he played with Brennan Johnson and Gibbs White, he's a threat going forward. Yeah, especially he's what, 6'4", you know, so he's someone that you can pick in the air.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like I said, I didn't manage to watch this game, but I watched Nottingham Forest last game against Sheffield United, and he scored again in that game. You know, he's, like you say, he's lethal in the air. It was another one of them goals, and I've seen him since he's come in a lot. And you know, when I heard he was going to Forest, I wasn't really too sure. You know, but then he's just proved me wrong, and he's just, like you say, he's a threat in the air, and you know, pretty much every Forest game I watch, he scores.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's up there. I know we're only a couple of games in, but he's up there with top goal scorers at the moment, isn't he? So,
you know, Mason Mount injured. I think it's kind of a blessing for the team. We don't really want to celebrate players going down, but you know, it's best for someone can go down who plays in the middle, so Eric Ten can try to sort out that middle in that middle tree that played Casemiro, Bruno, and Mason. I think it's woeful, man. You know, I think they be playing a bit too far away, you know, from Casemiro. But that game against Spurs, go back last week, in the first 30 minutes, Mason Mount was playing more of a deep playmaker. He was playing much closer to Casemiro, and you saw United, they were looking really good. They created a lot of chances, you know. But in that Forest game, it's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. You know, Ericsson, I don't know, man. When teams is coming forward at United in transition, you know, he's like a dead log in the river floating. No use. You understand?
Yeah.
So I think, remember last season when United played in that Manchester derby when they got, what, 6 or 7? 6.
Yeah.
When Phil Foden and Alan scored.
Yeah.
You know, Casemiro, that was his first game. Obviously, he was bench with Ronaldo. And you had McTominay and Fred was playing in the middle. And from that, I think United carry on a spell that they haven't lost a game for some while. You know, but I think this season, you know, next game is at Emirates against Arsenal. You know, I would love to see Casemiro and McTominay play in that middle. You know, Scott McTominay bring a more physical presence with Casemiro. You understand? And he can pass the ball. He can pick a pass too. You know, he can drive. You know, so I think selling Fred. You know, Fred is not everyone's player that they really like, but Fred used to work hard, man. He was a hard-working player with Casemiro. You know, so selling Fred, you know, Scott is not getting any game. You know, Mason Mount, you know, his tactical awareness is woeful in the middle, playing as a number 8. So I think we need that Moroccan player, Amrabat, in. You know, it would be a really good buy if we can get that player in. You know, but I don't know what's going on with the owners and what's going on with Eric Ten Hag. His tactics haven't spot on, you know, since the season has started. You know, we have a woeful preseason in over here in America. You know, we got smashed by Real Madrid. And, you know, I think the best game we played in preseason was when we beat Arsenal in New York. That was the best game we played in preseason. But everything was woeful, man. But going into Emirates Stadium next week, it's gonna be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was having a little look at next week's games just to see what ones I'm going to watch on TV and that. And yeah, that one's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for both teams, you know. And if Arsenal play like how they did, which obviously we'll get into, you know, then you know, you've got a good chance of sneaking something. But then again, it depends how you guys turn up. It's a 50-50 at the moment. It really is.
I think it's a blessing when Rashford can play down the left. As you saw,
Yeah.
He beat Serge Aurier down that side. You saw he was taking on players left, right, and center. He don't like to play with his back to goal. When you play as a striker, you have to have a lot of patience. Because when you look at Erling Haaland, when he played that first half against Sheffield, he took 10 touches in that first half, and he took 4 shots on target. So you're not going to get many Erling Haaland. So Rashford playing on the left and Martial coming in through the middle. It's a gamble. He's an injury prone, but man, I can't wait for Rasman to get back fit, man. He's going to be a real number 9 for us. He got loads of talents. But I don't know. I'm just wishing the best for United, man.
Not overly. Just obviously you need to sort it out.
Yeah.
How would you feel? I've got a question for you. How would you feel if your midfield was Casemiro, Eriksen, and then Fernandes just ahead?
So the problem with Eriksen, that's a good midfield tree, but Eriksen, I don't know if you saw it. It's like he's getting a little bit bulky. It's like he put on a little bit pounds. He looked much slower than last season. So this is a problem. The Premier League pace is quick. You have a lot of young players in it. Players are really fast, and United attacking in numbers. So defending in transition, it's going to be Casemiro alone in the middle. Because Eriksen is a player who likes to float around. He likes to float around. He likes to be on the ball. But moving forward, it's a good thing with Eriksen in the middle. He can calm the game down, manage the game. It's a little bit close to what Carrick used to do for United, a couple years ago. But I think we need a player like Amrabat. Energy.
Yeah.
We need that energy. Yeah, you need that energy. Look, Casemiro is coming from a league, La Liga, where most teams, except Barcelona, Valencia, Atletico Bilbao, all the teams play low blocks at Real Madrid, and he has players like Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, that players that's wonderful on the ball. These players don't give away the ball, so it's more easier for him to play in the middle like that. So coming to the Premier League where players, no one has respect for you. It doesn't matter if you name Casemiro, Rodri, they're going to run.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we can play teams now. So say a Luton Town come to Old Trafford. That would be a good middle three to use. Casemiro, Eriksen, and Fernandes. Luton Town going to sit way deep. And you're going to need players that to get on the ball, try to break down Luton Town, create, so we need another midfielder, man. We need another midfielder. Yeah, but moving forward, man, we're gonna talk about, I call this coach Robert Einstein, Mikel Arteta. It seems like he likes to do a lot of surgery. He like to try new stuff. What's going on, man? Partey is playing right back.
I know. It's bizarre. When I saw that, I've seen that. What was the game I saw it? I think it was the first game of the season, Nottingham Forest, and I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
It don't make sense because he's not even he's not even.
Gabriel's on the bench.
Yeah, and he's not even a quick, midfielder anyway.
He's not quick.
I know, it's bizarre.
I don't. I really don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. But it's kind of frustrating right now to be an Arsenal fan. Really frustrated to be an Arsenal fan right now, and it's just the way. I saw he did a press conference. He was saying that one of his reasons behind playing Partey at right back is to get another midfielder in the middle of the pitch and play those 3 at the back, just like similar to what City do. But City have a lot of personnels can play that way.
Yeah.
But he wants to play explosive football, so he brought in Partey as an extra man in the middle with Declan and Havertz and Odegaard going forward, Saka, Martinelli. flashing down the left and right wing, and Nketiah or also Gabriel Jesus going through the middle. You want to play attacking football, so that's why he said he brought in, Partey to play that inverted. But he's not even quick. That's the thing.
That's
He's
what
not
I'm
even
saying.
quick.
Yeah.
This player that played for Atletico Madrid, Diego Llorente.
Yes.
He can play on the wing, midfield, left back, number 10, number 8. You have to have players like that to invert them into a wing back. You can't just take a player out and say, okay, Pep going to take Rodri out and play at right back. It's just not going to work.
Right.
It's just not going to work, man. You understand? So I don't know, man, but Fulham though, they haven't beat Arsenal at Emirates in I think around 13 games now. They haven't.
Yeah.
So it was a good game though, man. A really good game. That CDM Falfina, the Portuguese, is a quality. I thought West Ham was going to buy him.
Yeah.
He would be a really good fit for Declan Rice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the only reason they didn't is because I heard Fulham quoted him at 90 million.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only reason they didn't go in. But then again, they got the money through Rice, so it's an interesting one. But then again, you look at what they've done. When you think about it, they've brought in obviously West Ham, they brought in Ward-Prowse and now Kudos. So 2 for the price of 1, maybe it could be in that sense, but we'll see. But yeah, he's a very good player. He's a very good player, and Fulham ain't really started off the season too well. Based on how they've started, building up to this game. Even though it is early, people have put them. It's finished a lot lower than last season, for example. But this was a very good performance from them. Absolutely,
really good performance. Obviously, I think Willian is still out, but this Arsenal have a player that they always. I don't think he ever starts a game in the Premier League yet. Fabio Vieira, he came on and he got that penalty. I think he's a quality player, mate. I think they need to pull Kai Havertz out and give the guy a chance. I don't think Kai Havertz is doing, what Granit Xhaka used to did last season. Granit Xhaka used to make those runs between the centre halves and the wing backs, going forward. You remember when Granit Xhaka was pulling up on that left side many times, whipping in balls in, and Martinelli was playing like a second striker. I don't think Kai Havertz have the personals. He's not creating. He's not defending. He's nothing going forward, man. And they spent a lot of money on him.
Yeah, no, I know. That was out of all the business Arsenal have done this summer window, that's the one I question.
Yeah.
A lot of their fans, when they were rumoured with him, they're like, no, we can't have this guy. He ain't proved much at Chelsea. He's just hanging off of 1 goal in the Champions League final. And then when they sign him, half of their fans are moving like he's the next coming of Bergkamp, which is just bizarre. But he's not doing anything. He's not doing anything. And I agree with you. I think based on that game, they need to give Fabio Vieira a chance. He wasn't a player I rate too highly, but based on that, you've got to start him. He come on and he impacted the game. And, Arsenal, if he didn't come on, to be honest, they could have lost that game.
Yeah.
So for me, I agree with you. They've definitely got to give him that chance now.
Yeah, man. Moving on from the Gunners, man. Brighton versus West Ham. Whoa, surprising result, man. It was really shocking. Hey, if you have, if you have any coach or any players, trying to learn that transition game, hit teams on the counter, tell them what's that highlights of the game, or go back to watch the full game. Brighton had over 600 passes, and West Ham barely get 120. Brighton took 27 shots on target, and West Ham not on target, on goal, and West Ham took, I think, 7 shots. How? What happened? What happened at Amex?
You tell me. It's all interesting, and like I say, it is nervy, going into the next game for us, because it is against West Ham, and if they can do that away at Brighton, then I dread to know what they can do at Kenilworth Road, to be honest. But some of the goals they scored in the game were phenomenal. You know, I felt like the second one was really good, man. That was really good. Obviously, I was watching him. I said that. Obviously, he's a West Ham fan.
His body movements was crazy.
Yeah, the ball into the box, the control, the finish. Oh, mate, that was class. But shout out to Ward Prowse as well. You know, since he's come in, he's
massive signing.
Yeah, he's just doing bits, isn't he? Scoring, assisting. He's doing what we know he's good at.
Man, like his set pieces is crazy, bro.
Yeah. He can score directly from corners, so go watch out for that one. Yeah.
You remember Charlie Adams?
Yeah.
Remember that left foot where I think Alex Ferguson said that left foot value 10 million. Nah, man. Those two corners that he took last week against Chelsea, you know, it goes exactly the same spot before the goal.
Yeah.
Mate, he's I don't know, man. I think he's a couple of free kicks away from David Beckham.
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
You know, it's 30 million, 35?
Yeah, I think it's about 30. Yeah.
That's a bargain, man. But yo, shout out to even Brighton, man. They played really good. They played excellent football, man. You know, that goal from Pascal Gross, whipper, excellent, man, excellent goal. You think Brighton can finish in that top 8, top 7?
Yeah, I think they're good enough to finish there again. You know, West Ham, no mugs. You know, again, they're another European side. They're in the same.
I think West Ham can, you know, take Fulham's spot this season.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. With them, it was, you know, people was worrying because they wasn't doing their business early, and obviously they got European football as well. You know, and obviously it's higher than the Conference League. So, you know, but these signings they're doing are really good signings, and I believe they'll be good. And like I said, they're no mugs. So I think if you're a Brighton fan, don't be too disheartened. You know, because at the end of the day, they went and beat Chelsea 3-1 last week as well. Not a lot of people would have expected that. So, you know.
No, West Ham keeper Ariola is keeping on Fabianski, man. He's looking really good. You know, it's looking like he's the number one. You know, like, listen, Fabianski, you got to sit on the bench and watch me now. You know, he makes around 6 point-blank save in that game, mate. Really good, you know. But, you know, shout out to David Moyes, man, and West Ham, you know. Shout out to Mikel Antonio, the reggae boy. We're going to have him a couple of weeks from now. You know, we play the Nation League back home in Kingston. That game, man, yesterday, man, Sheffield and Manchester City. I thought this game was going to be like a 5-6-0, to be honest. I think this was just going to be a sweep away. Go back to the Etihad.
Yeah. No, going into it, you know, a lot of people said the same. I said 3-0. You know, I thought it'd be pretty comfortable for Man City. But yeah, it didn't turn out that way, did it, at all? It took them a while.
I have a question. What's the issue with Pep and Foden? Why Foden can't get a start? He can't get a run. I mean, KDB's out now for months, you know. So Foden is the next player that's similar to what Kevin De Bruyne can do, you know. So I just didn't see why Foden cannot get a game in the team. He can't get a consistent run.
No, it's interesting because I thought the same. You know, obviously he was on the bench a lot last season. You know, also
he was injured most of the times, right?
Yeah, and injured, you know, a few times as well. But then I thought, you know, with Mahrez going, you know, that's another position he could fill.
Yeah.
You know, on that right side. So I'm like you. I'm a little bit surprised because, like, yeah, he is that guy, isn't he? That second guy to De Bruyne, who's, I would say, is as creative in that Man City team. Obviously, you know, most of the team is. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, feeding them balls through to Haaland, I would say he is, you know, the closest one to De Bruyne in doing that. So I'm not too sure.
You watched the game last week against Newcastle and City.
Yes.
He had a really good game.
Yeah.
And when Bogle scored that goal to go 1-1, and they brought him on, and he's the one that right after set up Julian Alvarez, but that one he missed that opportunity. You remember that chance that right after they scored, Kyle Walker gave away that goal?
Yeah.
I think he gave Julian Alvarez a goal just before Rodrigue, they kicked that corner and, they go 2-1 up. But Foden, when he came on, you could see the urge. He was searching for the ball. He was trying to find space to create. He's a talented player. So I don't know why, he can't get a game, but speedy recovery for Pep Guardiola, obviously was sidelined today, recovering from a back surgery, yeah. St. James's Park, man, Newcastle is winless in 13. They won the last four games at home, away to Newcastle out of 5. Eddie Howe he just can't win a game versus club. Even when he was at Bournemouth, now he's at Newcastle. They were leading 1-0. They were playing with one man up for most of the games. That Virgil van Dijk injury, red card. It was shocking, man, to see what happened in the last 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah, no, it was. I was actually watching it with my mate who is a Liverpool fan, and he was loving it. He was absolutely loving it. But yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I remember he was down and out for most of that game because of the red card. Obviously they scored A.Gordon as well, former Evertonian. And, from that moment, you're thinking this might be the time Newcastle finally get that win. Even last season when Liverpool were poor, they managed to beat them home and away.
Yeah, yes. They are the only team that beat Newcastle home and away.
Yeah, exactly. And Newcastle, they only had like 4 losses, and 2 of them were to Liverpool or something. So it was crazy. Especially with me just watching it as a neutral. Obviously, I have a little bit of a soft spot for Liverpool because I had family that was Scouse and that. But I was thinking, what is Klopp doing? Bringing Diaz off. I felt if anyone needed to come off, it was probably Trent, even though I don't think he really should have got a yellow card. I feel, Diaz is that guy who brings that attacking spark, and Trent, obviously, on that yellow card, I thought that was the safest thing to do. Put Gomez on into that right back role. Obviously, like I say, they were 1-0 up before that. The red card didn't help, but Diaz, he's a player of, not Diaz, Nunez, he's a player I've been saying should be starting.
Should be starting.
The pre-season games, I don't tend to watch pre-season a lot for anyone really, but obviously sometimes you just can't wait for the football. You'll watch any football, and Nunez in that he looks good, and obviously he's got the number 9, and I've said it. I think this will be his breakthrough season. With him. And, he showed that today. 2 wicked goals. You could say the first one was a bit, lucky how it's fell to him. But they're brilliant finishes, both of them. Very similar goals as well. And he's going to be a massive part to that team this season. I generally believe that.
Mo Salah, is he after Saudi?
I don't think he is. I think it's a bit, even though the Saudi transfer window's on for a bit longer, I think it'd be, unless they come in with something like 150 million, I can't see Liverpool selling him because it's too short. It's too short. Liverpool need to, I don't know if they will, but they need to fill other positions. It's a bit obvious. But I just can't see it. I could maybe see it, because the thing about Salah as well is he's a very ambitious player. He's wanting to break records. Even though he was poor last season, we would say, everyone would say that he still managed to get 19 goals. So he's still one of them players that is very effective. The problem with him at times, especially recently, and you saw it in today's game, is he tries to do too much at times. He's taking that extra touch. He's trying to do them extra things. But I can't see it because, how late on it is in the window, unless they come in for something like 150 million. I'm not saying he's necessarily worth that, but just with the fact of how late it is in the window and, I just feel Liverpool can't afford to do that.
Did you see the salary that they offer him?
Yeah.
Crazy, man. I think he's getting 350 grand at Liverpool, and they offer him 250 grand a day.
Yeah, it's mental.
I wish I could get a 1 week contract with them. I wish I could get a 1 week contract, man. And I'll be a rich man. That's a quick roundup. What happened in the Prem. Obviously Wolves beating Everton at Goodison Park. Aston Villa beat Burnley, man. That's a good result. It was always going to turf more. Obviously this is a Vincent Kompany era, but back in the days with Sean Dice, you're going for a tough ride up there, man. But it was pretty much easy. Diaby looking good, new signing, really looking good. He got lightning pace, man.
Yeah.
But I have to say this, Brentford is playing excellent, even though they gave up that goal and they drew that game 1-1. But they're playing excellent football without Ivan Toney, Mbuemo up front, and Wissa.
Yeah. Wissa's one of them players, I noticed it a lot last season. He'd come in clutch and get vital goals.
Yeah.
Like I think there was a week or a couple of weeks where he got a goal each week in the 90th plus something minute. And Mbuemo, I've always rated him very highly as well. So I've got a good attack even without Ivan Toney, to be honest.
I see Brentford finishing in the top 10 this season. They're a really good team, really good. No stars player, but the way how they play football as a family, they play as one unit. The Danish coach Thomas Frank, he's doing a wonderful job, with Brentford team. But Crystal Palace is one of those teams where it's kind of, good team. They got good players, but they just don't have players to put the ball in the back of the net. And that's what's going to be their issue. I think they are a better team moving forward without Wilfred Zaha. I think sometime last season when you see Wilfred Zaha playing, he hold up the ball too much. He's trying to do tricks and argue with the referees and getting stupid yellow cards. He used to produce, but I think they're a better team moving forward without Wilf. Obviously he's over there in Turkish earning a lot more money. But, Roy Hodgson, when he's going to retire for good, like, that's it. He kept coming back and coming back.
I know. It's absolutely crazy. When I heard they were getting him back, I was like, whoa, really?
Yeah, man. He kept coming back, man. Last season when they signed him, it was an interim contract, and now he said he's going to take the contract full time. But yeah, we have come to the end of the podcast, episode 2. Tyler, thanks for coming through, man. Everyone, just go over there and support T-Boys TV. That's the official page for the Luton Town support. You get all exclusive, man. Every day I get my WhatsApp message, what's going on, for Luton Town. As I said, man, thanks for coming through, bro. Take the time out to do the Prem podcast. You have any last thing you want to say on the show?
No, nothing, mate. Thank you for bringing me on. And make sure you do subscribe here first before you go over and subscribe to T-Boys TV.
Yeah, man. Big up, bro. Thanks. Peace out, bro.
In the city life, I'm feeling so alive. Drifting around the corner, got them shades on my eyes. It's a pretty little thing by my side that's flawless. Why you niggas still chasing roaches?